Hello students, welcome to the official YouTube channel of AIMS classes. Today our topic of discussion is plasma therapy or convalescent plasma therapy, which has been in news in the recent time as a cure to coronavirus disease, which is a world pandemic nowadays. So is it really true that we have got a remedy or a medicine or a cure to coronavirus disease? If it is so, then why it is not being launched commercially? What are its limitations? So in this video, you will have a clear concept, what exactly does it mean and how it is administered, how effective it could be in our fight against coronavirus disease, and is it globally approved as COVID-19 cure, and what are the limitations. So by the end of the video, you will have a clear concept and answers to all these 4 questions. So without wasting time, let's start our video. Now before going deep into plasma therapy and convalescent plasma therapy, one should have a very clear concept about our immunity system, our innate immunity system that is present in our body. Or in very simple words, I can say one should know how our body reacts whenever it is attacked by an intruder or any pathogen, that is any virus, bacteria or protozoa. Now in case of COVID-19 disease, the virus is transmitted from an affected person through the tiny droplet released while sneezing. The virus then travels in those tiny droplets to a non-affected person through a nasal cavity or through his mouth. Once it's entered our body, it goes deep into the cell and starts multiplying itself and starts affecting the other cells present. So thus it grows exponentially and thus affects the other cells. But we don't have to worry because our body has a very strong inbuilt immunity system. Now whenever it finds an intruder or a pathogen attacking itself, it starts producing antibodies for that particular pathogens, and that will be much clear in the coming video. Well, as we can see that our body is continuously producing specific antibodies for specific pathogens. I repeat, specific antibodies for specific pathogens. What does that exactly means? Now in the video or in the picture you can see that there are different kind of antibodies found. So for a particular virus or a particular bacteria or a particular protozoa, there is a specific antibody for that particular virus or a pathogen. So it means that an antibody produced for a different virus cannot fight with a new virus or a other bacteria or a protozoa. Now this antibodies has a very specific mechanism of fighting or with the antipathogens or the antigens. First they mark the pathogens and then get themselves attached to the pathogen and then finally destroys them. So this is the way they fight with the pathogens. Now you might be thinking, if it is okay, if our body can produce antibodies and if it has got the capability to fight with the pathogens or the intruders, then why exactly do we fall ill? Yeah, that's also a question. Now basically what happens, if your body is attacked by a very new kind of virus, a very new kind of virus or a pathogen, it takes some times to produce that specific kind of antibody for that to fight against that particular pathogen. Now this time period, the pathogen, or you can say the virus which is infected, it starts growing exponentially and infects other cell. So if your immunity system is strong enough and can produce sufficient amount of antibodies to fight against that particular virus or pathogen, then your body will just fight with the pathogen and keep a memory of that particular pathogen to combat any future attacks. But if your immunity system is not strong enough or fails to produce antibodies in that span of time and the virus grows exponentially into your body, into the cells, then comes the story of plasma therapy. Now, first of all, what is plasma? So basically, plasma is a rich protein, gold-colored liquid protein or portion of blood, and in which all the other components of blood, that is RBC or WBC platelets, floats in it. Now once all these components are removed from blood, so we are left with a yellowish kind of substance, a liquid substance that is known as plasma. Now, so what are the basic components of plasma? Basically in our blood, the presence of plasma is 55% and other components comprises of 45%. Plasma is basically made up of moisture. It mainly contains 90% of water, protein, minerals and antibodies. So this is the basic components of plasma. Now, what exactly happens in plasma therapy? In case of plasma therapy, plasma is extracted from the blood of a recovered person, a person who has recently recovered from the disease with his innate immunities, whose body's immunity system was sound enough, strong enough to fight back the disease and has recovered successfully. So from that particular person, we extract the plasma from the blood, and it's a totally an automatic process. So first the patient is tested for other diseases and other normal blood and other things. Then the plasma is then extracted and the other components of blood is returned back to the donor or the patient, and it's totally a simultaneous process. Means the plasma is extracted from the blood and the other components of the blood is returned back to the donor through that particular process, and the whole process is known as plasmapheresis. And the extracted plasma is further tested for other viruses and diseases if the donor is suffering from any other ailments or diseases. So further the plasma is tested for that particular thing, and if everything goes well, like everything is found sound enough, and then the plasma is transmitted or transfused to the person who is severely suffering. Let's say for example a health worker who is always like in touch or in contact with the diseased person. Okay, now this was the whole process of plasmapheresis, or this was the everything about plasma therapy. Okay, now we will look back into the history, like who was the inventor and discoverer of the whole thing. Basically, plasma therapy is not a very new thing to us, and it was discovered by a German physicist Emil von Behring in the year 1890. It was first used by him. Okay, and hereafter in the year 2014, the World Health Organization recommended us the plasma therapy in the treatment of Ebola virus, which which affected in a deadly way, in a deadly manner to many South African countries, as we can see in the pictures. Okay, and the plasma therapy was also used during the Spanish flu in 1918, an outbreak and the 100 years back pandemic that happened. Okay, so it is not a very new thing to us. And during the H1N1 infection, which is also known as the swine flu of 2009, doctor used plasma therapy to treat their patients. So now it's quite clear from these pictures and on the information shared about the historical background of plasma therapy. So it's not a very new thing to us. We have been doing this for centuries. Okay, so if we are doing this for centuries, then why this is not useful, or why it's not being accepted as a cure to coronavirus disease? It is not being used as a treatment for COVID-19 disease because it has got some limitations that we will discuss in the latter part of the video. Now let's first see. So China was the country where coronavirus outbreak took place, or the disease first emerged. It was an epicenter. Now they had used this treatment to treat their critical COVID-19 patient. So when they administered the plasma from a recovered person to a person suffering from this illness, they have seen signs of recovery in the patient administered with this particular plasma therapy. In India, 2 trials of plasma therapy was conducted on 15 coronavirus patients, and they have also shown improvement. So as we can see, we can draw a conclusion from this that yes, it can be an effective therapy or a cure for this pandemic, but why other organizations responsible in this particular thing like WHO or FDI has not accepted this as a cure to this particular disease? See, at this moment the ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, does not recommend this as a treatment option outside of clinical trials. So we can see in the news also that clinical trials are going on. Okay, and we need lot of trials, and lot of things are yet to be known about the disease and about this, how effective this plasma therapy would be to coronavirus. So there are a lot of things yet to be known. Okay, so this is the reason ICMR, Indian Council of Medical Research, has not yet recommended it as a treatment to COVID-19 disease. And several other countries around the world, including United Kingdom, United States, which is badly affected in the recent time, okay, has also started plasma therapy trials in their own country, but none has come up with a sure short result, and thus we can't say at this present time that plasma therapy is a cure to, or a permanent cure to the disease. Now there are other limitations also. Now we'll be discussing about the limitations, that why plasma therapy or plasmapheresis is not implemented yet. See, basically plasmapheresis itself is a very complicated process and filled up with lots of technical complexities. So if any country is willing, or if is successful with the trial, so if it is willing to implement it in its own country, so it have to invest a lot and to buy a lot of technical supplies and have to deploy them in every nook and corner of the country to see that every general public or a normal public is getting benefited with this implementation. The next limitation is the transfer of other pathogens already present in the donor body is also very high. Now, as already told, like suppose a donor body has recovered from the ailment of this coronavirus disease, but is suffering from other ailments like hepatitis B or some other hypertensions and other diseases. So in that case, that particular donor is not fit for plasmapheresis or plasma therapy, because in that time the plasma is getting transfused from that particular recovered person to the other person, because it might happen that during the process of transfusion, the other pathogens present in the donor body might get transferred to the person who is suffering from the ailments. So it will make the process more complicated. And above all, the biggest hurdle, what I believe is, because see, as the studies and trials are still on its way, so a lot is left to be known about the dosage, time of administration and other related complexities, which is acting as an added limitation to this present scenario. It's really very true, because as we all know, the disease is very less known to us, and every day by day we're getting to know about the disease. Okay, so at this present scenario, it's very tough to say like what would be the dosage amount of this particular plasma that is being like collected from a donor body or a recovered person. What will be the dosage that will be transferred to the person with the ailment? Again, what will be the exact time of administration, whether it would be before the person is diseased or after getting the ailment or after being tested positive. So there are a lot of things still left to be known. So what I believe, the third point is the biggest limitation for us at this present scenario. But yeah, we should not worry, because scientists all over the globe are working day and night to come up with a fruitful result, and soon we will come up with that, come up with a very fruitful result which will lift all these limitations and give us a perfect cure to this world pandemic, that is coronavirus disease. So this was all about plasma therapy or convalescent plasma therapy. I think all the doubts and concept is very much clear to you now. Okay, so if you have liked the video, do subscribe to our channel, and please share this video to all of your friends or to known people, so they can also get aware of this particular thing that is in the news now in the recent time, that is plasma therapy. So they will also get to know about this. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.